Hi everyone, welcome back to my channel, or if you are new here, hi. Today's video is my February reading wrap-up. I've read 18 books this month and I'm currently reading a series right now. And I'm actually filming this on the 26th, I'm pretty sure. So I still got 2 days left. I have the next 2 days off work too, so I'm probably going to get a few more books in. But I feel like 18 is pretty good. I've read 35 books so far this year total. My goal is 100. All the books I have read this year I did read on my Kindle. I bought my Kindle back in December, and so I have Kindle Unlimited for 3 months, and so I'm trying to read as many books on there as I can to get my money's worth because they're free, might as well read them. Okay, I'm gonna scoot over here so I can put the book on the screen and talk about it. The first book that I read this month is The Invitation by V. Keeland. I saw Lovely Like Laura was reading this, and I love her videos so much. And so I was like, okay, I need to read this, and then it ended up not being that good, and she didn't think it was that good either, so I don't really recommend this. I gave it 4 stars, I'm pretty sure, which my rating system, 5 stars if I love it, would read it again, 4 stars if I liked it, it was okay, but I probably will never read it again. 3 stars if I just hated it and would never ever read it again, maybe didn't even finish it, and then I never rate anything 2 or 1 because I feel bad doing that. Basically, the girl in it, she used to have a roommate and she got a letter in the mail inviting her to a wedding, and her roommate didn't live there anymore, and so she decided, why not, like, let's go to this wedding. So she went to the wedding, and then this guy who was actually ended up being the bride's sister asked what her name was, and she gave him this fake name, and he actually knew this girl, so he's like, oh, I can't remember what her name actually was. I think it was Evelyn. I'm pretty sure. Could be wrong. But he was like, oh, she has some words to say, so he like put her up on the stage in front of everyone, and she like said them, and everyone thought it was like crazy, like, who is this girl? It's obviously not who it is. And then she books it out of there, accidentally leaves her cell phone there, and he gets it, and she's got to go get it back from him. But it was okay. You could 100% tell what was going to happen. Like, she reads diaries. She, like, buys them online and then reads them. And she had this one diary, and you could just tell where it was going. Like, I don't know. I like when I don't know what's going to happen. Sometimes in books, I'm like, okay, I know where this is going to go. Like, this is going to be connected to that. And in this one, it was so easy to connect to that, and I didn't really have any fun reading it. Like, there was no mystery, no suspense. Then I found Ammo Jones, and oh my god, her books are so good. If you have not read them, you need to. The first one I read was Sicko. I rated this one 5 stars. It was so good. So this girl, she's adopted into this family, and there's an older brother. She finds comfort in this older brother, and he's like her best friend. He has some friends too that all keep like tabs on this girl. And then one day he just disappears. And she's like, oh, okay. And then a few years later he comes back and he's a completely different person. He goes by the name Sicko. He's in a motorcycle gang. This book is literally crazy. Like I was talking about with the last one, like how you could predict things. With this, the things that happened I would have never even thought of. It was so good. I highly recommend this book, especially if you have never read Ammo Jones before. Definitely start with Sicko. There's a lot more to this book, but if I talk about it, I'm gonna spoil it. Then I read also by Ammo Jones, In Peace Lies Havoc. It's the Midnight Mayhem series. It's the first one. The second one is out. I haven't read the second one yet, and there's 2 more coming after that, so there'll be 4 books total. And I'm waiting to read it until the other books come out because I read this one and I thought it was so good, and I was like, I know if I read the next one, it's gonna just leave me sad because I have to wait for the next one. So I'm like, I'm just gonna wait to read the next one until the other ones come out so I can just read them all right away and not be sad. But I rated this one 4 stars. I don't know why I rated it 4 stars. I remember it and I thought it was really good. Weird. I don't know why I rated it 4 stars. It's definitely a 5-star read though. It's really good. These guys come and they like kidnap her and they like leave her in a cage for a few days, and then all of a sudden they take her to this place where she has to like audition. It's like a circus sort of thing, but like a sexual kind of circus. And she ends up being in an act with like these 4 guys, and she has to like live in their trailer. Well, it turns out, like I said, her books, like you can just never guess what happens. They're so crazy. I don't know if I should say it. It's gonna spoil it. I'm not gonna say it, but there's a really big plot twist, and it's really good. And I'm excited to read the other books. Okay, then I read The Silver Swan, which is the first book in the Elite Kings Club and oh my god, 5 stars for every single one of these books. I think this is one of my favorite series. Okay, the sun kind of just changed, so sorry about the lighting. But this book is about Madison Montgomery. Her dad apparently had an affair, and her mom shot the person who he was having an affair with and then shot herself. So her dad's getting remarried, and so they moved to the Hamptons to be with her new stepmom and her son. She doesn't know who the stepson is yet. And she goes to school and she makes friends with this girl named Tatum. And she's like, listen, Madison, like, that group of boys over there, don't become friends with them. Don't pay attention to them. Don't do anything associated with them because they will ruin your life. And then she goes home that night, and one of those boys is her new stepbrother. This book series is literally so crazy. I don't know if it's like, it's not really fantasy, but like there's like another, it's not a world, it's kind of a world. It's like an island, and like there's stuff happening there. Something happens with Madison, and there's a lot of like murder, and oh, it is so good. So there's the first 3 books, The Silver Swan, The Broken Puppet, and oh, I don't know how to say it, but it's on the screen. Those are Bishop and Madison's books. And then the next 2 are Malum Part 1, I want to say is how you say it, and Malum Part 2. That's Nate and Tilly. Tilly is friends with Madison and Tatum. They like met at a mall. She was working in there and then they became friends. I don't know how to say this either, but it's on the screen. This is Saint and Brantley's book. Saint, you don't hear about for a while. She comes out in one of Tilly and Nate's books. You like see a little bit of her. There is a part 2 coming for Saint and Brantley, and then there is one more book with Madison and Bishop to wrap the whole thing up. I'm pretty sure both of those are supposed to be out later this year. That series is so good. If you have not read it, go read it. And then I read Dear Ava by Elsa Mountain Mills. Ava goes to this private prep school, and there's this group of boys called the Sharks, and she starts getting these anonymous letters from one of them saying that they like her and they're sorry for what happened to her. She was at a party and she ended up getting raped. She was on a date with another one of the Sharks, and he like left her. So she like drug herself to the road. Someone else found her, took her to her best friend's house, knocked on the door, and that was that. And people were mad at her because she put up a fight because she wanted to see who her rapist was. She wanted revenge, like she wanted answers. She like didn't go to school for 10 months after it happened because she was just like so scarred. So then when she goes back, that's when she starts getting the letters. And it just goes on from there. I feel like all these books you can kind of like tell. Like obviously she's gonna get with one of the Sharks because that's just what's gonna happen. I rated it 5 stars. It was pretty good. Then I read the Royal Elite series by Rina Kent. The first one is Deviant King. This is with Elsa and Aiden. Oh, this series is so good. I feel like there's a lot for me to talk about this one. So when she was little, her house started on fire and both her parents supposedly died in it. And so she went to move in with her aunt and uncle, and she started at this, I'm pretty sure it's like a private prep school. And this book is set in the UK. And so she's over there, she's going to school, she walks in and there's this girl and she becomes friends with her because she can tell she doesn't have any other friends. And this girl's like, you need to stay away from these 4 boys, like they will ruin you, like stay away from them. Well, then in the next 3 years she just keeps getting bullied by them, like it's bad. Her friend keeps getting bullied. Aiden starts to like her, and she like has always kind of liked him. And then a lot of stuff comes out, like her dad didn't actually die. He was in a coma, and so like he comes back. And then her mom was like crazy. But then there's a connection between Aiden and 2 of his friends with Elsa's mom. The Deviant King is the first one, and then it's Steel Princess and Twisted Kingdom. And those are all Aiden and Elsa. And then it goes into Black Knight, which is Kim and Xander's book. Kim is Elsa's best friend, and then Xander is friends with Aiden. There's a lot going on behind like Kimberly. There's talk about she has like an eating disorder. She tries to commit suicide. Like, it's a very deep book, so trigger warning for that. And then Vicious Prince is the next book. That is Teal and Ronan's book. Ronan, I think that's how you say it. Ronan. This is a spoiler, so if you don't want to hear this, skip ahead a few seconds. But Teal ends up being Elsa's foster sister, and so that's where Teal comes from. And then Ronan, that's how you say his name, is also in Aiden's friend group. And then there is Ruthless Empire with Cole and Silver. Cole is also friends with Aiden. That's the 4-person friend group. But Silver and Cole end up being step siblings. But then something happens at the end which is crazy, which you would like, I didn't even think of it coming. She has like a stalker. It gets crazy at the end because you would never even guess who the stalker was. Like, I didn't even consider this person to be her stalker. It's like, whoa. But they said that at like 85% through the book. And then I was like, okay, I feel like they should have done this at like 70%. So you still like, I chunked to like hear about it. And then the next book after that is the Royal Elite Epilogue, which has every single couple in it, and it just like talks about their futures together. It's really short. Aiden and Elsa's books I all rated 5 stars, and the other ones I rated 4 stars. They were okay, but I thought Elsa and Aiden's story was the best. And then I started another series, The Kings of Quarantine, Brutal Boys of Everlake Prep by Caroline Peckman. I think there's another person too. And Suzanne Vatelli, I think is how you say it. I've read the first and the second one. I'm working on the third right now, and then there is a fourth too. This one is about a girl named Tatum, and her dad drops her off at this boarding school. There's actually a virus going on. It's called the Hades virus, and it's kind of like what's happening in the world right now with coronavirus. But her dad drops her off, and then this guy Blake is like her greeter. He's like showing her around, and then she gets her room, and her roommate is like, okay, there's these boys, these 3 boys, you need to stay away from them. And Blake was one of those boys. And then she's like, you just need to play by the rules and you'll be fine. There's like this group of people that have done them wrong. Like, one's called Punch because he like punched them. One's called Bait. I don't know. There's a bunch of names, and it's so sad, and they like bully them, these group of 3 boys. Anyway, her roommate's like, you don't want to become one of those people. Like, just do what they say and you'll be fine. So they initiate her. She just has to jump off a deck and swim, touch a rock or something, and swim back, and she's good. She comes back, they party, she hooks up with Blake. While they're hooking up, he gets a phone call from his dad, and he's like, okay, this is from my dad, he never calls, like, I need to go answer this. His mom actually passed away from this virus, and his dad is telling him that a new student that came to this prep school, her dad is the one that leaked this virus. And guess who it was? Tatum. They call themselves the Night Keepers too. I should have said that at the beginning. So she goes into the dining hall, and they're called her over there, and they named her Plague, and she became one of those people, and the whole place like threw their fish stew on her, and it was bad. This book is like very bad. The bullying is just, it's horrible in it. And then the guys are like, I feel like she needs like a worse punishment than this. So they take her out, and the part of this Night Keeper rituals, if you like touch the stone, you're like night bound. You have to be like their servant, like you're connected to them forever. You have to do what they say. And they're like, you can either touch this rock, or we're gonna make your life even worse than an unspeakable. So she touches the rock, and so anything they tell her to do, she has to do. And one of the first things is that she had to sleep outside, and it was like pouring rain. She was in a skirt, it was cold out, and she like had to sleep outside. They do horrible things to her. And yeah, it is a reverse harem, I think is how you say it. And so she ends up getting with the 3 guys. There ends up being a 4th too, which I'm not even going to talk about because that's a whole nother thing. But it's just crazy. It's a lot to unpack. Sometimes it's hard for me to read because like it's kind of, it's so mean what they like do to her, and I feel bad. But yeah, so far I've rated all the books 5 stars. I think they're pretty good. The second book is Kings of Lockdown. Third book is Kings of Anarchy. And 4th book is Queen of Quarantine. So that is all the books that I read this month. I hope you guys enjoyed this video. If you did, be sure to leave it a thumbs up. Let me know what books you've read this month and your favorite one that you have read. If you guys want me to read any books too, definitely leave them down below. I love getting recommendations. I love watching recommendation videos. I was actually just watching one before I started filming this. I was watching Steph Bohr's My Current Favorite Romance Books Part 2. So yeah, I love watching these videos and getting new book ideas. Follow me on Goodreads if you want to keep up with my reading, and I'll see you guys in my next video. Bye guys.